Welcome back to Paleo Profiles and Mr. Sharabian. I gotta tell you, one of the things that I used to love doing when I was a kid was taking a walk on the beach. It's quiet, it's tranquil, and you find some really cool stuff. Like, check this out. Right along here on the beach, I found a piece of coal. Now, coal is actually made from the fossilization and pressurization of plant material. And all of our coal deposits were from the Carboniferous period. At least our main coal deposits were from the Carboniferous. So chances are pretty good. This is actually probably compressed trees and ferns and all kinds of other stuff from millions of years back. So really cool. But I also love finding things like this. Bones. Pretty decent sized bone too. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, you're supposed to find, fish and crabs and stuff like that along shorelines and marshes and stuff. What the heck's a bone doing over here? Well, chances are pretty good this is probably the remnants of that guy's dinner. Sarcosuchus imperator. One of the biggest crocodiles that has ever lived. Now that name Sarcosuchus imperator means emperor crocodile because this animal is large. We're talking 40 feet long. That's about the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Massive jaws are about 7 feet long. Incredible animal. Now, just to clarify, yes, Sarcosuchus is a crocodile. It's not a dinosaur. Now, I specifically say that it's a crocodile, not a dinosaur, because for some reason, there's this new idea or this idea going out that crocodiles are living dinosaurs. They're not, but they do share a common ancestor. Here's how it works. Dinosaurs and crocodiles both belong to the same group that we call archosaurs. That's a group that actually has a newly adapted, specifically designed method of locomotion and the way they keep their legs. Because believe it or not, crocodiles and alligators, they were devilishly close to being dinosaurs, but they just couldn't walk the walk, so to speak. So, archosaurs gave rise to crocodiles and alligators and caimans, but they also gave rise to the dinosaurs. So crocodiles and alligators share a common ancestor. Now, we can even take that a step further if you want to. Birds actually share the same relationship with dinosaurs. You have dinosaurs, and they gave rise to the sauropods and the horned dinosaurs and the armored dinosaurs, but they also gave rise to the group that we call the theropod dinosaurs. And the theropod dinosaurs include modern-day birds. So birds came from dinosaurs, dinosaurs came from archosaurs, and archosaurs also gave rise to crocodiles. So it's kind of cool to think that modern day birds and modern day crocodiles share a common ancestor. Now, as I mentioned before, the jaws of Sarcosuchus are about 6 to 7 feet long. And that's actually very similar to a modern day crocodile called the gharial. The gharial has a super long jaw that's very, very thin, which actually dictates how it's able to ingest its food. Gharials can't bite into things and do a death roll because of the length of that jaw. So that actually tells us that Sarcosuchus might not have been capable of doing the death roll, which is basically bite, crushing, and then spitting at rapid speeds. Chances are pretty good Sarcosuchus would actually bite and hold down the prey as it struggles to try to get out of its jaws, and then after it dies, then it would be able to digest its food. But those jaws are huge. They're so long. And at the blunt end, there's this huge nostril region that we think would actually be used for communication amongst other Sarcosuchus. The other amazing thing about Sarcosuchus is that we found it in not one, but 2 different continents. We found remains of Sarcosuchus in Africa, but we've also found remains of Sarcosuchus in South America. So it really is interesting to think that Sarcosuchus was such a successful animal that it was able to survive in 2 different continents. Now, obviously, these guys didn't swim across the Atlantic Ocean, but what we do think happened is that these guys probably had a common ancestor during the time when all the continents were joined together in what we call Pangaea. As Pangaea started to break up, it actually broke into 2 smaller continents. Laurasia on the north, that included North America, Europe, and Asia, and then the southern area that we call Gondwana, that included South America and Africa. So chances are pretty good that Sarcosuchus had a relative that lived in Gondwana, and because Sarcosuchus was such a successful predator, as Gondwana began to separate into South America and Africa, that animal was able to diversify, but still retain enough of its original adaptations to still be considered Sarcosuchus. So it really is a marvel that these guys were able to be as successful and as large as they were. Not 1 continent, but 2. We've been talking about dinosaurs so much, so I figured it was time for a little bit of a break to check out something a little bit more familiar. So I think I'm going to continue on this trek. Next time around, it's not going to be a dinosaur, but what's it going to be? Well, you'll just have to come back and find out. So this is Mr. Sarabian for Paleo Profile saying stay healthy, stay safe.